What's up, guys? John here, and welcome to Inside the Solo, episode number 20. Today's episode is on a song called Little Wing by Jimi Hendrix. We're going to learn that classic outro solo. Here's an isolated guitar of what it sounds like, and we're going to break it down.
Little wing.
So you actually hear his vocal bleeding in on this same track that's the isolated guitar, and my guess is that they were recorded at the same time. He was probably singing and then just went down and took the solo, and then maybe his voice is like commenting on the solo, like this call and response. Right? They're just kind of going back and forth. It's pretty amazing. So, of course, we have actually another guitar track that does the classic 12 fret whammy dive, which you hear at the end like this. So what that is the 12th fret harmonics. You just hit those chords, and then you drop the whammy down, and then as it comes back up, it goes directly into this bend. Okay, so that bend is on the 15th fret of the B string. And the chord that we're playing over in E minor, and just to remind you, I am tuned down a half step. Hendrix tuned down a half step on this song, so I did that just to match the tuning. So here we're on the 15th fret of the B string. You bend that note up a whole step. And then right after that, he plays the 12th fret on the E string. So it's like this note bends in to that note, and he would blend these a lot of times together. If you watch some of my other Hendrix videos, I've got a lot of Hendrix solos that we're breaking down. He'll do these unison bends. Like you hear that kind of thing all the time in his playing, and also on All Along the Watchtower if you want to check out that video. But start by just bending the 15th fret, and then play the 12th fret on the E string. So that's that first leg. Okay, the next phrase is this. Woo! So you go back, so you played the 12th fret on the E string, and then you go back to the B string, and you go. Bending the 15th fret on the B string, then let it down. Then I play my second finger on the 14th fret of the G string and bend that up a whole step. So, and then you do this fall off. So there's that. And then you go. So this would be falling off of 14 to a pull off to 12 on the G string. Then put your second finger on the 14th fret of the D string. It's kind of tricky if you're used to playing one finger per fret. Hendrix did a lot of 3-finger style playing, so he would just like be using these 3 fingers, and he'd go back and forth with his first and second finger. If you were playing like a pentatonic line like this, like let's just say you were playing the pentatonic scale, he might do something like this. Instead of going the typical like first finger, pinky, first finger, third finger. And Clapton also plays this way too. And you'll see it, like go watch Hendrix live videos, and you'll see him fingering these lines kind of like this, you know, first. So after that, then you use your second finger. And then he can, the advantage of using that is he'll play a lot of lines like, you know, where he'll bend right underneath. Now, if you don't play this fingering, it's pretty tough. You gotta bend with your pinky or something, but here, you can get your second finger on the D string and then bend the 14th fret of the G string. So then once you bend up that 14th fret, then you play the 15th fret on the high E. And it's like almost like a country sounding lick, right? Pedal steel. So it bends up. So that whole lick is, see that? Then he just goes back and forth. And that's basically holding that 15th fret. I use my pinky on that note, on the E string, and then third finger bending the 14th fret. So, it's hard. Then he comes down, down. So that's falling off of 14, 12, 14, 14 on the D string, again with my second finger, first finger on the 12th fret. This is another thing, it's crazy, you can hear his lips like, he's like, it's just the mic noise. You would never hear that in the song, but in the isolated track you can hear that. So he's probably got a vocal mic on and he's breathing and he's cutting the solo at the same time. You know, and he's singing and then going back and forth just in one take. Okay, so this is another great thing about Hendrix. Is like how he would do these fall offs. So he'd bend up here on the 14th fret, and then he falls down. So and then it sounds like a pull off to 12, then a hammer to 14, then pull off to 12. So all that is being, so all that right there until this note is one pluck. So then he plays that note, the 14th fret of the D string, with the pluck. So it's just, if you picked it all, it wouldn't have the same sound. You see that? So it's just like these nuances that are pretty tough to copy. Okay. Da, 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 da. Okay, so let me just take that much. So that's 12, 14, bend up, 12, 14, 14 on the D string, 12 on the G string. And then you do a hammer on to 14, and then slide from 12 to 14. So. Okay. And then so after this slide, then you come back to 12 and do a hammer on. Then you slide from 14 up to 16, and then you go slide 14 back to 12. So it's, of course, vibrato on all those notes. Right? So. And then kind of like a bluesy bend there. And then we go into this. So this is your first finger on the 12th fret of the B string, and I actually grab two strings. So I'm going to do a mini bar here covering the G and the B strings, and I'm going to go just play the B string first. And you're going to do a hammer from 12 to 13, and then a pull off, and then a pull off, pull off. So it's, hammer, pull, pull, pull. Then play 12 on the G string. So, then play 15 bend, whole step. Then you're gonna bend up, then you fall down, play 12 on the B string. Then he's doing these licks again, those kind of country licks. That's basically bending up the 14th fret and then grabbing with your pinky the 15th fret on the high E. Now, sometimes that B string will be in there as well. So sometimes I feel like he plays it and I only hear just the 2 notes, and then sometimes it's almost like a strum, like that kind of sound. Then he moves it down a whole step, which is basically 12 on the G string. Now this time I feel like I hear, it's probably, you hear the B string in there, so it's going back and forth with that bend. Then he goes into these classic sort of Hendrix add 9 chords, which this is one of my favorite sounds. So at this point, the rhythm section is playing C to D. So he's going, and this is a double stop here. You're gonna have your first finger on the 7th fret of the G string, your second finger on the 8th fret of the B string, and you're gonna play those 2 notes together, and you're gonna do a hammer pull on the G string from 7 to 9. See that? You do that twice. And then play this note in between, which is the note C on the 8th fret of the D string. So, and you know, he's basing it around his classic Hendrix thumb chord here, like that. And then after you do it twice, you go back to that root note and you slide it up a whole step, which gets us from C to D. Da 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 da. Let's pull off there. So good. So this is again the same idea, but up 2 frets. So that's these 2 notes. You should be on 9 and 10 on the G and B strings, and you go hammer up to the 11th fret on the G string, and then slide. So let's see. Yeah, it sounds like a pull-off to me. Exactly. So you've got going to 11, then you slide. You should be on 12 and 10, and then, but leave your first finger there because you're gonna go back to this. You slide, pull off from 12 to 11 to 9 on the G string. Then you play 12 on the D string. And after that, you end on the double stop of basically the 9th fret and the 10th fret, which makes it a D add 9 chord. And that's just a cool shape to hold anyways. I sometimes play it with my pinky and thumb like this. Just classic Hendrix moves. After that, we get the 12th fret harmonic that sounds like an overdub. Because listen to the tone of this guitar. It sounds a little cleaner, maybe a little. And then actually, it sounds like it doesn't come back up. Oh, you hear it at the end. You hear it at the end come up slightly, so it's like... but then it fades out. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something. If you did, leave a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe. We got new videos dropping every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you'd like to learn more about soloing, you can click the link in the description below, sign up for the newsletter, and get a free over 100-page book that I wrote called Melodic Expressions on Soloing, and it's got tons of licks over major, minor, and dominant chords, so be sure to check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.